What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Weekly GCap, the only source you'll ever need to catch up on all the gaming news from the last week. As always, we got quite a couple stories to go through, and as always, I saw some comments on the last video being like, hey, the beginning part kind of bored me out. But literally, in the description of literally every single one, like every WGC episode ever, there's timestamps, so you can just skip to like whatever story you want to go to. They're labeled with the exact timestamps down to the second. So if there's only one particular story that interests you, you can watch that, or if everything interests you, you can watch the whole video. Completely up to you. First things first, let's go ahead and go over every game that has released in the last week. So April 26th was Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Sweep the Board, Sandland, Stellar Blade, and Topspin 2K25. Then on the 25th we had Saga Emerald Beyond. Then on the 23rd we had Ayuden. I'm not exactly sure how you're supposed to say this. I don't know if it's like Yuden or Ayuden, but Ayuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, Lunar Lander Beyond, Phantom Fury, Tales of Kanzera Zao, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Arcade Wrath of the Mutants, which was a remake of an older arcade game, which was really cool to see that finally come out. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys. Have you guys been playing any of these games? Do you plan on picking any of them up? Next up, we had a surprise update for Nintendo Switch Online. That's coming from Nintendo of America on X. Quote, Extreme G and Iggy's Wrecking Balls are now live for Nintendo Switch Online and Expansion Pack members. Will you take your cyber cycle to Gravitational Extremes and Extreme G, or race through the towering tracks in Iggy's Wrecking Balls first? These are definitely some underrated titles from the N64 era, so I do recommend checking them out if you have not already. Next up, Star Wars Jedi Survivor has been added to EA Play. This seems like a pretty quick turnaround, but then again, it has already been a year somehow since this game released. But anyway, this coming from Xbox Wire, quote, get ready to stand against the darkness in Star Wars Jedi Survivor. The critically acclaimed action-adventure game from Respawn Entertainment in collaboration with Lucasfilm Games is coming to the playlist on April 25th, 2024 for all EA Play members. PC Game Pass and Ultimate Game Pass members can start their adventures this week as a part of their membership to experience the next chapter in Cal Kestis' saga. So, as it had mentioned here, if you're a part of EA Play, then obviously you get access to the game, but also if you have either PC Game Pass or Ultimate Game Pass, you get access to EA Play as well. I do highly recommend checking this one out. I know it released, like if you go back and watch some of the reviews, you might hear some things about like performance or this, that, or the other. They've patched the game a lot since then, and even then, I felt like the conversation with that stuff was completely overblown at launch. Like, yeah, sure, the performance was a little spotty in some spots, but it was never like a make or break thing. It was just like some jitters here or there like you'd see in literally any game ever. That being said, they've patched it up a ton since then and it runs smooth as butter. So yeah, it's definitely worth diving in, especially if you already have the subscription. It's practically free at that point. Next up, two games are free on Epic Games, those being Industria and Lisa, the Definitive Edition. These will be free until May 2nd at 11 a.m. EST, so you might as well redeem them because there's no better price than free. Next up, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was announced. That's coming from IGN. Quote, Warhorse Studios has officially announced Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, the sequel to its popular RPG set in medieval Bohemia. Warhorse Studios fully unveiled the sequel at a private event last week, confirming among other things that it will be twice as large as the original, touting it as a behemoth of a game. It is currently targeting a 2024 release date and will release on Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC. End quote. So, if you have not played the original Kingdom Come Deliverance, I would highly recommend going back and doing so. Is it going to be required to play this game? Honestly, from what we've seen, like from trailers and stuff like that, and from what we've heard, it does seem like there's gonna be a bit of a connection there. Granted, in a lot of cases with a lot of games, you are usually able to just kind of dive in and experience the story and kind of pick up on things as you go and follow it for the most part, but I would still recommend going back and playing the first one regardless, just because it is an absolutely amazing game, and it is available on everything, even the Nintendo Switch, which that was one of those ports where when I heard and saw it finally come to the Switch, I was like, oh my goodness, that's actually impressive. Not to mention the fact that it's always going on sale, and it's also a part of PS Plus Extra. It's a very accessible and easy game to get a hold of and play, so I would highly recommend doing so. And again, we don't have a solid release date for this one, but it's coming sometime 2024, so honestly, I have a feeling this might get pushed into 2025, but at the earliest, I would expect it holiday this year, if not, probably sometime first half next year, but we'll see. Super excited for this one. Next up, the Metaphor ReFantazio release date was announced, so this will be releasing October 11th of this year. For those of you that don't know, this is coming from the creators of Persona, like Persona 3, 4, 5, yeah, so you already know what to kind of expect from this one. But anyway, we have the description of the game here. So on the side it says, this is a story of how people must find unity to elect a new king. Our story takes place in the United Kingdom of Uchronia, where the assassination of the king brings chaos and unrest to the land. Then, one fateful day, a magic known only to the king called the Royal Magic is invoked, and the world becomes embroiled in a royal tournament for the throne. In the midst of this, the protagonist, together with his partner, the fairy Gallica must find a way to break the curse that has been placed on the prince that the kingdom believes to be dead. To do so, they depart on a journey across the vast land. They will discover that in order to achieve their goal, they must participate in the tournament for the throne, and this great task shall require them to ally with many friends and followers of the various tribes inhabiting the world. End quote. So, again, coming from the creators of Persona, you kind of know what to expect here. Big, long, expansive RPG, relationship type stuff, you know, like social links. And again, this one will be releasing October 11th of this year, so it's not even 6 months away, just a little over 5 months out, and really excited for this one. I love Atlas, and just, like, I'm just gonna be honest, okay? I'm a bit of an Atlas shill. If Atlas is on the cover of the game, like their logo, I'm gonna pick it up, I'm gonna play it, and I'm gonna love it and enjoy it. That being said, pre-orders are available now, and so there's a standard edition for $69.99, and then there's a collector's edition for $149.99. So we'll go ahead and just kind of like run through what each one comes with. So as for the standard edition, if you pre-order this one, you obviously get the base game, but then you also get an archetype EXP chest, 10 times Heroes Essence, 5 Heroes Fruits, and then you get the Adventurer's Journey Pack, which has 30,000 Reeve, which is an in-game currency, 5 expensive medicines, 5 revival medicines, 3 magical breads, and 2 stale black breads. And then if you get the collector's edition, you get that, plus you get a steelbook, soundtrack, artwork, Homatenta metallic pins, a sticker sheet, Kingdom of Uchronia cloth map, and then you get the costume and battle BGM set DLC launcher, which comes with a bunch of uniforms, but I'm not even going to go through it because it's a ton, as well as an Atlas 35th anniversary digital history book and soundtrack. So I would say, you know, if you're a fan of Atlas like I am, that collector's edition might be worth looking into because there is a lot of really good stuff there. I'm not going to lie. I'd be willing to cough up the money for the soundtrack and art book alone just because I love flipping through art books and stuff like that. I just love seeing like concept art and like how the things I love were created. But yeah, regardless, again, October 11th, the game will be coming out. Pre-orders are available now, and I'm super excited for this one. Next up, the Wizardry Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord Remake release date was announced. That's coming from Gamatsu. Quote, the Wizardry Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord Remake by Digital Eclipse will leave early access and launch for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC via Steam and GOG on May 23rd, the developer announced. The Dungeon RPG first launched in early access for PC on September 15, 2023. It is a full 3D remake of the Apple II game originally released by Surtech in 1981, end quote. Let me just go ahead and say that, considering what this game is based on, it looks absolutely incredible. Again, it is a full 3D remake of that game, and this is definitely a very old school, like, you know, dungeon crawler type of game. And by old school, I mean this game released in 1981, so yeah, this game even predates me. As I said, the game looks incredible, and I mean, you're seeing the footage on your screen, and you know, I've been loving the recent surge of remakes on these lesser known titles. Like we had the Gargoyles remaster a little while ago, which was definitely not as popular of a title. There's still like, you know, a following for it, but definitely not as big of a title as some of the other titles from that era. But this one is definitely like even lesser known than that one, I would say. So this is pretty cool. I'll definitely be checking this one out. Next up, the IGN XID at Xbox Digital Showcase was announced. That's coming from Xbox Wire. Quote, last year you got a first-hand look at Karateka, not exactly sure how to say that game's name, Axiom Verge 2, Sea of Stars, and many other incredible games during the first IGN XID at Xbox Digital Showcase. Today we're excited to announce that the show is returning on April 29th, 2024, with another batch of highly anticipated indies for you to play across Xbox and PC. On top of epic trailers, fresh gameplay, and new reveals, the show will feature new details on upcoming games like Dungeons of Hinterberg, 33 Immortals, Lost Records Bloom and Rage, and many others. The IDX at Xbox Showcase will premiere on April 29, 2024 at 10 a.m. PT, 1 p.m. Eastern, and 6 p.m. BST, and you can tune in across all IGN platforms. Now going into this, you know, I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of people trying to get their, get their expectations way too high, being like, oh, we're finally going to see like Hollow Knight Silk Song here, because every time there's a showcase announced, especially when it comes to the indie ones, a lot of people start speculating about that. It happened before the Nintendo Direct, and I'm sure it's happening right now with this showcase, but don't get your hopes up. I really feel like that's going to be something that we're going to see later on with a bit of a bigger showcase, something like Summer Game Fest or just a bigger showcase in general. But yeah, regardless, obviously I'll be tuning into this and we will do a full recap, breakdown, all that next week on next week's episode as always. Next up, Octopath Traveler was finally relisted on the Switch eShop. This coming from Square Enix on X. Quote, Octopath Traveler is now available to purchase on Nintendo Switch eShop once again. Thank you for your patience. End quote. So yeah, that's all I had to say. But for those of you that don't know, Octopath Traveler for some reason was delisted for a little while. I honestly, it was never officially confirmed why this happened, but there was something on the eShop about the publisher changing from Nintendo over to Square Enix, so there was like a bit of a thing there, so maybe that's what caused it. Maybe it was something else, like a licensing thing, like who really knows. But anyways, regardless, if you haven't played this game before, I highly recommend it. Both this game and its sequel are absolutely amazing, so if you're more of a digital person for some reason, well, you can pick it up digitally again now, but hey, physical copies were available that whole time, so, you know, like, I was still able to play the game. But for the digital only folks, again, for some reason, yeah, you know, you can buy the game again. Next up, a pretty cool pre-order bonus was shown off for the Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door remake. This coming from GameStop Canada on X, quote, receive a free slipcover when you pre-order the Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door game for the Nintendo Switch system. I'll go ahead and put the image on screen for you guys. As you can see, the slipcover, yeah, it's the original GameCube cover art. It looks absolutely amazing, but the one downside is, as you probably heard when I mentioned the source, is that this is only available in Canada, or at least it seems that way. At the time of me recording, I mean, even by the time that this video goes up, it might have been announced already, but it was only announced to be coming out in Canada. That being said, time will only tell. I hope it comes to other regions, but hey, even if not, thankfully, the Nintendo Switch is region free, and I have no problem importing. Next up, this one is really, really unfortunate, and honestly makes me really sad. Little Big Planet 3 servers have shut down permanently. This is coming from PlayStation.com, quote, due to ongoing technical issues which resulted in the Little Big Planet 3 servers for PS4 being taken offline temporarily in January 2024, the decision has been made to keep the servers offline indefinitely. All online services, including access to other players' creations for Little Big Planet 3, are no longer available. User-generated content stored locally on your PS4 will remain available. Any new UGC, aka user-generated content, you create can be played on your PS4 but not shared. Offline features such as the campaign will remain playable, end quote. So, this is a situation similar to what we saw with, say, Super Mario Maker on like the 3DS and Wii U recently, where like once the server shut down, it's not that the game is useless or unplayable or this side or the other, not even close, because the games are still obviously amazing in their own right. It's just the fact that they've stripped away a huge element of the game, and one of the things that gave the game an infinite amount of content. So while yes, the campaign is still there, as I mentioned, and it's still playable, and it's still an absolute blast to play, obviously, and you can still create your own levels, yeah, you aren't able to download levels from online anymore, which really sucks, and I highly doubt there was any sort of, like, preservation of any kind that happened beforehand, you know, because, like, you know, some people were trying to, like, preserve some of the Mario Maker levels and stuff like that, but, like, for something like this on PS4, I don't know if there was even any way for them to do that, or if they did get to do it, so unfortunately, I feel like these levels may just be lost to time now. Hopefully, I'm wrong about that. Hopefully, these levels can be restored somehow in the future, but it's unfortunate, but figured I'd bring it to your guys' attention. Especially because this game is a part of the PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium catalog, meaning there's a chance that literally anybody with that subscription could download the game and then just realize, oh, I can't even play these online levels, which, again, the game is still fun and definitely worth playing. Despite that, it's just, it sucks that such a huge part of the game has just, you know, gone forever now. And finally, Embracer Group has split into 3 separate entities. So we've been talking a ton about how they've been shutting down studios, laying off employees, and just canceling projects, and this, that, and the other. They've been trying everything in their power to recoup costs ever since their $2 billion deal fell through, and now it seems like they're taking a bit of a different strategy, a bit of a different approach to this whole thing. So this coming from Embracer.com, quote, the board of directors of Embracer Group AB, aka Embracer Group, today announces a transformative step for value creation through a separation of the group into 3 market-leading games and entertainment companies, Asmodee Group, Coffee Stain and Friends, and Middle-earth Enterprises and Friends. The 3 entities will be separate, publicly listed companies, enabling each entity to better focus on their respective core strategies and offer more differentiated and distinct equity stories for existing and new shareholders. This will enable the entities to unlock value in the high-quality assets of Embracer Group following the successful completion of the restructuring program. So we'll go ahead and break down what each one of them is going to be doing, essentially. So Asmodee, the first one, is a global leading tabletop games publisher and distributor with an extensive studio network and IP catalog. After that, Coffee Stain and Friends is a diverse gaming entity with a dual focus on indie and A/AA premium and free-to-play games for PC, console, and mobile, with a high degree of recurring revenues. And then finally, Middle-earth Enterprises and Friends is a creative powerhouse in AAA game development and publishing for PC and console, as well as the stewards of the Lord of the Rings and Tomb Raider intellectual properties, among many others, end quote. So again, just another one of those cost recouping measures after that whole $2 billion deal fell through. Will this work out long-term for them? Personally, I believe so, because this gives shareholders a bit more of a direct approach as to what they're investing to versus what Embracer Group was before, where it was just like a mishmash of all these different companies focusing on so many different aspects and avenues of gaming, whereas now these 3 separate companies will be like, hey, this is what we're doing specifically. Therefore, you know, shareholders and investors and stuff like that are able to invest specifically into what they want, and this could either draw in more folks, could push away some others that would have been interested in investing in Embracer Group otherwise. But I feel like with them separating and things being a bit more focused between these 3 separate studios, I have a feeling that things may be a bit more successful revenue-wise, like over time and just in the grand scheme of things. I hope so at the very least, because each of these companies hold some pretty notable IPs that I love. But of course, only time will tell, and at this point for Embracer, I'm hoping for the best. Not for Embracer's sake. I don't really have much respect for that company, but for the sake of all the developers and employees under that umbrella. But anyway, that's all the stories that I have for you guys this week, so now I'd definitely love to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on everything that we talked about? Whether it's all the new game announcements and stuff coming out. There's a lot of exciting stuff coming up, or Embracer Group splitting into 3 different companies. What do you think about that? And then the Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door remake pre-order bonus. If it isn't announced to be coming to wherever you live, are you going to be importing a copy, or are you just going to simply skip on this one? Me personally, I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna have to import that copy. Whatever it is, whatever you're thinking, I would definitely love to hear from you guys. But anyways, this is Weekly GCap. New episodes go live every single Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. So if you want to catch them as soon as they go live, well then, now you know when to be here. But anyways, that's gonna do it for me, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Have an amazing day and an amazing weekend. Stay beautiful. I love you all. Peace.